Hello everyone. Today, I'd like to share a deeply moving story with you, set against the tumultuous backdrop of World War II. This narrative, titled The Architect's Blueprint, transports us to the besieged city of Leningrad, immersing us in the life of a young man grappling with profound personal loss and the immense weight of distant conflicts. It explores themes of family bonds, raw emotion, enduring love, and the unique sense of loneliness that war can inflict. I hope Anatoly's journey resonates with you as much as it does with me. The Architect's Blueprint. The biting wind, laden with fresh snow, and the acrid, ever-present smell of burnt timber, whipped mercilessly around Anatoly's gaunt frame as he stood on the frozen, unforgiving expanse of the Neva River. 28 years old, an architect by trade. His hands were now calloused and scarred, not by the precise lines of drafting tools, but by the desperate, ceaseless work of clearing rubble. The siege of Leningrad had tightened its icy, unyielding grip, transforming his once beautiful, vibrant city into a skeletal monument to endurance, a stark, frozen testament to human suffering. His loneliness was not merely a state of being. It was a profound, suffocating cold that settled deep in his bones, colder even than the unforgiving Russian winter that mirrored the desolation in his soul. Before the war, his life had been a grand design, brimming with the bustling energy of creation and the quiet satisfaction of bringing blueprints to life. His father, a gruff but brilliantly intuitive civil engineer, would often take him to noisy, exciting construction sites, his booming voice cutting through the clamor as he taught Anatoly the inherent strength of foundations and the elegant art of structure. His mother, a warm, vivacious woman who taught history at the local gymnasium, would fill their apartment with lively, passionate discussions about art and literature, her laughter a bright, clear melody that chased away any shadows. His younger brother, Pavel, a fiery young artist with a restless spirit, would endlessly debate aesthetics with their mother, their passionate arguments a constant source of amusement and intellectual stimulation. The very air in their home was thick with love, expressed in shared blueprints meticulously unrolled on the dining table, in spirited intellectual exchanges that stretched late into the night, and in the unwavering, unspoken certainty of their family's unbreakable bond. He remembered the crisp, invigorating scent of new paper, the satisfying, balanced weight of a T-square in his hand, and the comfortable, chaotic warmth of their shared meals, a vibrant tapestry of voices and ideas. These were the solid, dependable foundations of his past, now tragically shattered and utterly undermined by the relentless, brutal siege. Then the blockade had slammed shut around Leningrad, a steel vice that slowly, agonizingly squeezed the life from the city. His father, too old for the brutal front lines, had joined the city's desperate engineering efforts, a tireless worker until he, like so many others, tragically succumbed to starvation in the unforgiving grip of the first brutal winter. His mother, her once vibrant spirit slowly, imperceptibly dimming, had been taken by typhus months later, leaving Anatoly and Pavel utterly alone in the chilling silence of their apartment. Pavel, refusing to abandon his art, stubbornly sketched the dying city, capturing its crumbling beauty and profound suffering. His defiant artistic spirit, a stark contrast to Anatoly's stoic practicality. The once magnificent, intricately woven structure of their family life had crumbled, leaving gaping, aching voids that no blueprint, no matter how precise, could ever hope to fill. Anatoly continued his work, now repurposed for the military, mapping bombed-out districts, meticulously assessing structural damage, and grimly designing makeshift defenses against the relentless onslaught. It was a grim, relentless task, each shattered building a silent, stark testament to the city's unending agony. He worked mostly alone, his only companions the heavy silence punctuated by the distant, thunderous boom of German artillery and the gnawing, ceaseless rumble of his own empty stomach. The pervasive anxiety of witnessing his beloved city, his life's very canvas, slowly, painfully dismantled, was a raw emotion that never dulled, a constant, sharp ache beneath his ribs. He clung to the work, a meticulous, almost desperate act of preservation in the face of overwhelming, absolute destruction, finding a perverse solace in the ordered lines of his grim new maps, his only remaining connection to a life beyond the siege, beyond the grim, suffocating reality of mere survival, was through his enduring, resilient love for Irina. She was a nurse at the overcrowded, perpetually overwhelmed city hospital, her face perpetually smudged with soot and exhaustion. But her eyes, even in the deepest despair, held a fierce, unwavering light that seemed to cut through the darkness. They had planned to marry just before the war, their future carefully mapped out with quiet promises and hopeful dreams. Now, their encounters were fleeting, desperate glimpses in the frozen, dangerous streets, a shared, desperate glance across a chaotic ward, a brief, cold clasp of hands that spoke volumes beyond any words. Their love was a fragile, precious warmth, a secret flame that stubbornly burned against the bitter cold of their existence, a tiny beacon in the endless night. One particularly brutal night, the temperature plummeting to unimaginable deadly lows, a desperate plea reached Anatoly from the resistance underground network. The city's main water filtration plant, a vital artery of life, had taken a direct hit. It needed immediate, precise repairs, but the original blueprints, meticulously stored in a heavily bombed archive, were presumed utterly destroyed. The Germans, desperate to break the city's indomitable will, were shelling the area relentlessly, aiming to cripple any repair efforts. Without water, without this essential lifeline, the city would not survive the winter. It would simply die. Anatoly felt a surge of cold dread, sharp and sudden. He knew the archive intimately, its deep, labyrinthine cellars. He also knew, with a certainty born of long experience, that his father, meticulous to a fault, would have made copies. The memory of his father's booming, confident voice, "Always have a backup, Anatoly," always echoed in his mind, a spectral guide. But the archive was now a treacherous death trap, choked with mountains of rubble and haunted by the ominous groans of collapsing structures. The loneliness of this impossible choice was immense, crushing. He was the only one with the knowledge, the only one who could possibly do this. He thought of Pavel, his artistic brother, stubbornly sketching defiance in the dying light, immortalizing the city's struggle. He thought of his parents' quiet resilience, their strength in the face of adversity. He thought of Irina, her exhausted face still tending to the endless stream of wounded. Her unwavering dedication, a constant inspiration, driven by a raw, surging wave of desperate emotion, fear, duty, profound grief, and an unwavering love for his shattered city, for his lost family, and for the fragile, flickering hope of life itself. He made a reckless, terrifying decision. A desperate gamble against insurmountable odds. Under the deepest, most impenetrable cover of the night, Anatoly prepared a small, hastily assembled kit, a powerful, salvaged flashlight whose beam wavered precariously, his father's old, worn measuring tape, and a compass he'd meticulously repaired himself. He slipped out, moving like a phantom through the desolate, frozen streets. The journey to the archive was harrowing, a nightmare walk through a city transformed into a graveyard. German artillery boomed intermittently, sending sickening shockwaves through the ground beneath his feet. He navigated by the ghostly silhouettes of bombed-out buildings, their jagged edges like broken teeth against the sky. His heart a frantic drum against his ribs. The cold, empty miles stretched before him, each one a testament to his profound isolation, to the sheer, terrifying scale of his desperate task. He reached the archive, a skeletal ruin shrouded in snow and the chilling silence of destruction. Inside, debris choked the corridors, forming impassable mountains of stone and twisted metal. And ominous groans from twisting metal heralded potential collapses, each sound a warning of imminent danger. He descended into the dark, frozen cellars, the air thick with suffocating dust and the metallic scent of decay. Hours passed as he painstakingly crawled through narrow, treacherous passages his flashlight beam dancing across shattered shelves, his breath pluming in the frigid air like ghostly sighs. Just as despair, cold and heavy, began to set in, he found it. A heavy, steel-reinforced safe, partially buried under a mountain of rubble, but miraculously intact. He remembered his father's peculiar, intricate combination, a series of clicks and turns that at once seemed utterly random. The safe door creaked open, a sound that echoed unnervingly in the silence, revealing a stack of rolled-up blueprints, pristine and miraculously untouched, a testament to his father's foresight. Anatoly pulled out the water filtration plant diagrams, his hands trembling not from cold, but from profound relief and surging adrenaline. Success. But as he turned to leave, a new, chilling sound echoed through the cellar. Heavy, crunching footsteps. German soldiers. They must have spotted his light, or heard the creak of the safe. He scrambled for cover, pulling the blueprints fiercely close to his chest, his mind racing. Trapped, he could hear their voices, guttural and sharp, their heavy boots crunching menacingly on the debris just above him. He was utterly, terrifyingly alone, facing an impossible choice. Then, through a narrow gap in the rubble, he saw a glimmer of weak light, a small, unstable tunnel leading further down, almost hidden beneath a collapsed wall. It was a desperate, risky escape, but his only one. He plunged into the suffocating darkness, hoping against hope. He emerged hours later, battered and frozen, into a forgotten sewer tunnel that led out of the bombed district, a grim but safe passage. He stumbled through the snow, clutching the invaluable blueprints, his body aching with fatigue and cold, but his spirit soaring with a quiet, fierce triumph. He reached the engineering command post, delivering the blueprints to the incredulous, relieved officers. His actions, a single, desperate gamble, had saved the water plant, averting a catastrophic disaster and securing a vital victory in the besieged city. Weeks later, a brief, precious respite from the shelling allowed him a fleeting moment with Irina. She looked at him, her eyes wide with a mixture of profound relief and unspoken understanding. She had heard whispers of the desperate mission of the architect who had retrieved the impossible from the jaws of ruin. She simply took his hands, her touch warm and reassuring against his cold, scarred skin. Anatoly looked at her, his love for her a burning ember in the frozen, desolate landscape of their lives, a constant source of warmth. His loneliness had not vanished entirely. It was a permanent scar, a deep, painful mark of the war's toll. But it was now filled with a profound sense of purpose, a quiet, unshakable strength forged in the brutal crucible of loss and survival. His family was gone, shattered by the war. But his beloved city, his resilient people, and his enduring love for Irina all miraculously endured. He was no longer just an architect, but a silent guardian of Leningrad's very heart, charting not just buildings and destruction, but the enduring blueprint of human hope, painstakingly drawn in the face of unimaginable despair.